What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 602. I am your host, Steve V, alongside holding down the fort with me today in studio, Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Woo-woo. Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing today?
Really good. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm doing really good. And you know, we made it through 600 episodes and we're moving forward.
Exciting.
If you haven't checked out that episode, check it out. It's episode 600. There's a video version of it as well, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel. And I interview all of the hosts about their experience on this show, about how their sex and relationship has evolved over the last 600 episodes, how their style of podcasting has shifted or emerged or evolved. And you can watch it on our YouTube channel because you get to see our bright, shiny faces. It was a fun episode to record. Go to youtube.com/TAGSPodcast, and it's episode 600. But you, Kodi, just interviewed me.
I did.
We reversed it, Interview Magazine, and interviewed me on our Patreon community. And what a fun interview that was.
Oh, yeah. We put it down. We flipped it and reversed it like Missy Elliott. It was fantastic. And, you know, you're a really great interview.
Oh, gosh. Thank you.
I really enjoyed myself. And, I learned so much about you. I feel like I know so much about you already, but, there's always deeper to go in someone.
Yes. Oh, exactly. We went deeper and you did a really good job. Well, I tell a little bit of inspiration for telling the show on the actual episode. I really wanted to focus on the host for episode 600. But for those that want to hear the interview with Kodi, doing a great job interviewing myself, you can go, it's a bonus episode, and it is episode 600, it's a bonus episode, and you can get it on our Patreon page when you subscribe to it and show your love for tags. And you can do it at the twink level, virgin level, whatever one you want, and grab a tier, and we do bonus episodes and a lot of extra content over there. So show your love for that. Get that episode. It's out now on patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. We also have a bonus episode out separately from this as well. So we'll keep putting those out and some more extra special sexy content.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it is officially Hispanic Heritage Month, which is really exciting. And we are both of that heritage.
We are.
Exactly. And I love that. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month.
That's right. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. If I could spit it out. Ooh.
And if there was a way you wanted to celebrate and acknowledge all the things that our community in the Latino community, Latinx community, there is a show that just dropped called Strangelove, and it's about 4 queer Latinos in DTLA, downtown LA. Think queer as folk, think a lot of sex, think gossiping and relationships and so much more. It looks really good. It's a queer comedy drama series that's about to hit screens, and it did actually. It dropped. Strangelove is created by award-winning film director Jorge Jalapa, starring Alexis Vasquez, Rory Orlando, Brandon Baez, and Eduardo Segura. And we saw the trailer. It looks really good.
Spicy, honey.
Yes. Queer Latinos, LA. It draws inspiration from Jorge's personal experience as an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. And the story centers on 4 queer Latinos drawing comparisons to Sex and the City, Girls, and Looking. All shows I loved and was huge fans of. The characters are portrayed by wonderful actors who interject humor into a plot that is seemingly heavy because of its themes. I am here for it. And right now you can watch it on YouTube. But they say it should be available on Prime. But I'll definitely put the links that I have on there. But it's called Strangelove, all one word. And how important do you think a show like this, especially dropping in Hispanic Heritage Month, is here?
Yeah, it's so important. I think that the more representation that we have and the more stories that are told, it's so needed in the society for us to be able to look on a screen and see representation and be able to see ourselves in other people. And I definitely, watching the trailer, I was like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's Steve. Oh, that's Jeremy. It was amazing. And I really appreciated being able to see myself in these stories, because that's what it's all about. It's about being able to relate and connect to one another. So I can't wait for this.
I love that you said the more stories that are told, because that's really what it's about. And for so long, we didn't have any stories that reflected our experiences, and this is just one that is. I love that it's in downtown LA, because I used to live in LA, and the Latino community there is thriving and on fire. And I also think it's really good in an election year where immigration seems to be a hot topic in general, and there's so much anti-immigration. And this is going to show that these are a lot of immigrants that have come here at certain points in time, and putting a good shining light that they have stories too.
Oh, yeah. Humanizing immigrants, because I feel like
we're all immigrants in some way, shape, or form. I mean,
hello, goodbye. Yes. But I feel like a lot of people are removed from that status, so they kind of take those people's humanity away from them. And I think that this will help humanize them. And I for one can't wait for it.
Me as well. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. And somebody else that could potentially be standing up for our rights is Vice President Kamal Harris, who recently just sat down with Oprah Winfrey for I watched bits of it. Did you happen to watch it?
I watched the
live
whole thing.
stream. You did watch the whole thing?
I did. It was on YouTube. Really, it was great.
Didn't it bring up the old days of Oprah with the really good quality? And, you know, she always has really good lighting and really good camera angles. And then she brings in, while she had celebrities there, and really got Kamala to open up. And we can see Kamala not on a debate stage or giving a rally speech, but really humanized. And then she's really good at bringing stories of real people and asking questions. And I think that was so important.
I was crying.
Yeah, that's why I said the old Oprah days. If anyone can get us to cry, it's Oprah. And it made me miss the Oprah Winfrey Show.
It did. I was watching it, and I could not help but cry over every single story. It was jarring, because I did not expect that from here, but what else could I expect from Oprah? Because she is so good at making sure that you feel her through the television, which is, I think that's her superpower. And these stories, they really got to me, and they show what Kamala being the president would do for us, because she is one of us. She feels like she really understands where we're coming from, and she wants to help. She wants to make sure that things are better. So I really thought this was a great move for Kamala, because it shows us not a softer side of her, but it shows her firmness as well. It's really strange about how this could be such a dual type of setting for her, because it did so much to humanize her and to have her connect with us, but it also showed her strength as well.
I agree. In a response to a question about her faith in the Secret Service, because, you know, Donald Trump has been threatened with his life twice after a recent assassination, she actually said that while she feels safe, there are far too many people in our country right now who do not. What a good pivot she made there. Right. And then, so it was a question about Secret Service and her safety and Trump's recent, life-threatening things happening to him. She turned it to our community. Quote, I look at Project 2025 and the Don't Say Gay laws coming out of Florida. Members of the LGBTQ plus community don't feel safe right now. Immigrants or people with an immigrant background don't feel safe right now. Women don't feel safer right now. And she added, well, Secret Service protection, it doesn't change her perspective on the importance of fighting for safety of everybody in our country. And like I said before on episode 601, Biden and all the things he's done for our community, we're not just supporting these candidates because they're Democrats and blue, because we've gotten accused because there are Trump supporters. And everybody, we really want people on this show to get out and vote, whoever you support. We are simply putting out that we actually support Kamala Harris, but we want you to vote in general. But these are some of the things we look at for our community. And she has definitely shown her support. So has Biden. And he has not,
The
or
alternative.
JD Vance. And
Oh,
so it's,
They continue to surprise me, or
Yeah.
with the depths which they are able to go and the thoughts that they have. JD Vance just came out saying something crazy. I forget what it was, but he's just.
yeah, I mean, for her to bring up the don't say gay laws out of Florida, and for Biden the other day to say that the whole reading ban and books that feature our community in actual books, they're actually pinpointing actual examples of all the things where they want to take away our rights. And this is why we support this ticket.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like they are in support of our community, definitely. It feels like they have the direction that they want to see the country go, and it's aligned with what my vision is for the country. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely voting for Kamala and what's his name again?
Whites.
Yes. I was going to say Wentz, and I was like, that's not quite right. So
Yeah, no. Okay, let's move on to some fun topics because we all know Brat Summer has been over. And Demure, of course, people are talking about, but the gay community decided to have a new take on a little bit more fun on a TikTok battle that has been raging between two dueling factions. And what are they? Fem Top Fall and Vers Btm Autumn. I think both are legitimate, but TikToker Eric Cedeno laid out kind of the reasons why he's for Fem Top Fall. He says that, we wear bigger jeans, we have the corduroy, we got the heavier, wider bag. It's just a natural that it's Fem Top Fall, and bring your Fem Top, get into it, enjoy it, putting all that energy out for our bottoms. He says, let's think this through. Fem Top Fall. What is Fem Top? A blouse, okay? Is blouse giving fall? I feel like blouse is giving spring, summer. Blouse gives spring, summer. A versatile bottom, and like he said, think trousers, heavy jean, joggers. And then he went on to say, aren't you way more likely to Vers Btm in the autumn? Think about it. No hate for Fem Top Fall. You had your moment, but blouses, save that for springtime. Well, that generated another TikToker who's a Fem Top to say, don't get it twisted. It's really about Fem Top Fall. Fem Top, also known as blouses, are an important and heavily desired part of the gay community. Masculinity doesn't equal dominance, it doesn't equal control, and it doesn't equal penetration. Part of being gay is challenging stereotypes about gender, sex, sexuality, and roles in society. And fem tops are a proud part of that tradition. Kodi, if you had to choose between Fem Top Fall or Bottom...
Vers Btm
Vers
Autumn.
Btm. No, I can't even keep track of these. Vers Btm
It's a
Autumn.
tongue twister.
Jesus. What would you pick?
I would definitely pick Fem Top Fall. I mean, hello, who's the blouse in the house? That's me.
That is yes, you are.
Yeah, I don't see that there should be an argument here. If you're a Vers Top, then it's Vers Top Fall. I'm sorry. See, I can't even say it. Who came up with these tongue twisters?
These two TikTokers.
If you're a Fem Top, it should be Fem Top Fall for you. And if you're a Vers Btm, have your Vers Btm Autumn. It's perfectly fine for us to have our own individual seasons. Just like with some people didn't participate in Brat Summer. And that's okay. We should all just get to be able to do and be who we are. And I think that they should not be arguing over what it is and just have their own lives and live their own lives.
I
and
think
their
both
own
can
experience.
exist in
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I don't know that these are going to trend
Well, we got a war.
Brat and Demure, but these are, I like how we're trying.
Oh,
And this
yeah.
is very specific just to our community for sure. But it's a fun discourse and funny. I think it's entertaining and kind of keep us leading the way.
And you know what? I feel like Fem Top Fall, I still can't say them, and Vers Btm Autumn, they should just be holding hands because who is going to benefit one another? I feel like they're going to both benefit each other.
I agree.
Okay?
They're both valid and they both have their place. And yeah, they'll benefit each other.
They should just meet in the bedroom and call it a
Meet
day.
in the bedroom. I do love all this projecting that we're doing seasonally. I'm a very seasonal person. So I'm going on a trip right now to Europe with my sister, and I was planning the wardrobe out, and it actually is going to be a little bit more demure. It's just, I'm trying to get a little bit more better with my packing and just have some like really good neutrals and solid colors and just basics that I can just kind of intermix and keep it kind of simple but fun. I'm going to mix it up with accessories and a scarf moment and jewelry, because that I can pack easily, but pretty much I'm going to keep it kind of these kind of strong neutrals.
And the basics.
I like to, I change subtly, y'all, but I have like a new haircut that I'm going towards that is different from my spring-summer haircut. I shaved off the little mustache that I could grow over the, I just did that. And so that's a whole new look. My boyfriend was looking at me on a FaceTime call today, like, what did you do? And I said, well, you've got such a mustache. He has this great, thick mustache.
Yeah.
And so we, so he's going to be the mustache in the relationship for now. And I love it. But I love to,
and you'll get free rides, mustache rides.
I love seasonal changes, whether it's growth, whether it's career, whether it's, and I just think it's really good. So
I love that too.
For it. So these little brat stuff, I'm here for it.
And you have a beautiful face, so why not get rid of the mustache, darling?
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, boo.
Speaking of my relationship, this was something that I was thinking about. I was out with him, and currently we just celebrated 4 months. And
congratulations.
We've known each other a year and a half. 4 months we're celebrating. We did the other day. And we went out the other day to the New York Eagle here and had some fun. We decided that, for the time being, mostly because of me, that we're monogamous. But when either one of us, he said, when you're ready, if you want to, we could maybe open it up. And by opening it up, what do we mean by that? We will probably mean that if something were to happen, like, in the club or a moment, that we would then tell the other person, but it's just going to be sex.
Okay.
And he continues to tell me, I tell him that my heart is with him and his heart is with me. And I'm understanding that more. And I think we'll probably get to that point. I'm going to be on the Vacaya, up working the red light district on Mexico Vacaya, where I will be running the red light district along with our good friends over at Vacaya. And it's going to be a highly sex progressive environment.
Charged,
And by that point, I probably will. I've been told that I can have my own fun at certain times in there as well. I mean, I thought I was going to have to wear my uniform that they provided. And he says, no.
I thought you got the green light from your boyfriend.
Well, I would definitely get the green light from my boyfriend for that, probably, because he's the one that's more, he thinks of it more as, it's not going to happen all the time, but if it does, it would just be sex, and we will tell each other when we do stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm on board with that. And so much so that we were out the other night at the bar, and we somehow got caught up and pulled this beefy 6'2" guy with us into the bathroom stall where we all made out.
Tell me more.
He was shirtless and had this bulky chest, and we each made out with him individually. I was like, oh, come on in here. And it was so...
No three-way make out?
Well, I'm getting to that.
Pause.
I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was that conversation with my boyfriend, but we pulled him into the stall, and we were having fun with him, and... like I said, he was so fun and easy breezy with it all. But then my boyfriend did exactly what you just suggested. He pulled us in for a 3-way kiss. And when we were talking about it later, he was saying, see, it could be like this too. But did you notice that I pulled us all away? I did notice that, reminding me that it can be a lot of fun.
You better get his credit.
When you keep that conversation open and going, and we don't... Up until 4 months, we have conversations about a relationship, but we don't overanalyze right now, and I want to keep it that way, but we have the talks a lot. And I don't know, so far we've got this great balance going on, and I don't know, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I love it. I love being able to be free, and talking about your relationship is so imperative in order to have a healthy relationship and know where everybody stands. I have definitely recommended weekly, honestly.
Weekly, I think, is good. I just heard somebody say, I don't know if it was Joel Kim Booster or I'm probably making that up, but it was somebody that said, yes, conversation is amazing and keep that conversation going. But this idea that you're always over analyzing and having discussions about your relationship can also get really tedious too. And you don't want to get, I feel there's a nice balance of you need to just kind of like live the relationship.
Breathe the relationship.
Sometimes if you just get so analytical about it, it's like, oh my gosh, are we talking about this relationship? Or are we enjoying it? And so I think but everybody will have that balance of how it works for them. And ours is kind of a nice balance right now. And because it's like, are we having this conversation again?
Well, you know what? If you have a question, then you definitely have to be asking your partner the questions that are on your mind.
Of course.
Because at the end of the day, it's a safe space and it's supposed to make you feel comfortable and loved. So I agree with you that there's a balance that should be had. But if you have a question, ask that motherfucking question.
Yeah, and if you're not, one of you is not moving on from something, then you need to make a change. Both of you.
Ooh, you bet.
I mean, Okay, moving on to an article. We love talking about cruising on this show. And there was an article that came out by May Rude on out.com saying the 5 most popular cruising spots where the gays go to get lucky. And it also talks about how cruising had its day back in the 70s, 80s a lot more when we really didn't have a lot of spaces. Now we've got apps, we've got sniffies, which is, they like to call it the cruising app. And it is because it's not an app per se, it's an actual website. And you can go on there and you could create your own cruising. Like, I'm going to be at this spot.
Yeah.
And it's a modern day version, I would say, of cruising, but apparently there are still spots that people like to cruise. I'll list the top 5 that they list on this article, and then we'll discuss. Well, at number 5 is a place that I did some cruising before in the library, and I'm talking about universities, uni, as a lot of people like to call it. It's a place for exploring, experimenting, and cruising is one of the best ways to do both of those things. I agree on that one, on universities. We'll talk in a minute. The gym, surprise, not a surprise, although I think that's changed in recent years.
They are cracking down.
Yes. Number 3, residential buildings, which I think is more modern day. I mean, I feel like you've stated before where you've stayed here at my condo here in Chelsea. Typically, you live in Brooklyn, and it's a different pooling of people. But, a lot of, with these buildings erecting and so much, buildings going up left and right around the city, it's creating a lot of gays are buying these condos and enclaves, and they are, hot spots to, a lot of these newer buildings want to create, like, you have everything all in one. You've got a pool, you've got restaurants in there. They don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be cruising going there. Number 2, public restrooms, always at an all-time high. And number 1 is the park. And I was recently in your area, Brooklyn.
In the park?
In Prospect Park, which I adore. I actually like it better than
Central Park.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Me too.
There's more trees and nature, and there's a hilly area that you can really get lost in. And my friend has pointed out to me, this is where the guys, I should say, because I'm sure there's a lot of DL men there that go to cruise, but I don't know about that.
I think we should go. We should have a field trip one day.
We could, but I don't know. I think I used to be so much more into the concept of cruising. I've done it for sure in certain areas, but I also have a paranoia side. Like, I like cruising in spaces that are designated for that. So what do I mean by that? So cruise bars. We've talked about Europe. There's the bar here that we go to in New York, the Eagle, and there are cruise designated areas that make it really fun to cruise and maybe get your rocks off if you want to. I do have a little paranoia sometimes with places that you could get risky sex we talk about, and I don't need to be going to jail anytime soon or ever.
You can meet up with P. Diddy.
Or Austin Wolf. No. That's not the way. I already met up with Austin
back in the
day, I got my fix, and I don't want anything to do with him anymore.
Not anymore. I agree with you. But yeah, I think cruising is a lost art. I feel like we need to get back into more cruising. I think all of these spaces that they listed are phenomenal places. I used to cruise in the bookstore a lot too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another place.
That had the videos in the background? Like a video room where you could, those kinds of?
No, like Barnes and Nobles. Oh. Can you remember Barnes and Nobles? I used to cruise a lot there, especially when I lived in Virginia. That was the place to go to cruise.
You know, I have a funny story about bookstores back in when I was starting to get a little more daring, and I would go. So how did I get I knew I was gay. I knew I loved men. I knew there was these magazines. It was the late I think I was in high school living at my parents' house. And that was back in the day when there was bookstores at every mall. So there'd always be like two. And one of them was like B. Dalton, if anyone remembers that. And there was like another bookstore. This is pre-Barnes and Noble. I mean, these silly bookstores back in the day. And they always had a magazine section. And magazines at that time were really popular. And everything from Teen Beat to Vogue and everything in between.
Oh my God, Teen Beat.
I know. But they would also put an adult area in these bookstores that was kind of like you had to look. It was always taller and in the back. And they would have, in some of these stores, and I was in my little suburban town, not that small, but they would have Playgirl for sure. But they would have other magazines too, like Honcho for those old schoolers, and
not a Honcho.
Honcho, do you know that one?
I do, yeah.
And a few others.
What about Inches and Latin Inches? They had those too.
And I would maybe they would have a couple of them, not a lot, because there was I may be confusing with an adult bookstore that I would ride my bike to. That tells you how long ago it was. And I would go in, and you had to be 18, and I was 17, and I would buy the magazines there, and they would let me buy them even though I was underage. But before I did that, I was going to just these normal bookstores, and this is awful, but I would tear out a couple of like one or two pictures of a hot guy. They were always white because that's all they put out there back in the 80s, which was fine. And I would tear out a couple of pictures from these magazines and fold them up and put them in my pocket so that I could go home and masturbate to them. And I'd get a lot of run. And then when I would get tired of it, like I used it up for, I'm tired of him, my paper doll there, I would go back and get a new version of a guy that I would jack off to.
Oh.
I know, right?
Yeah, we all did some weird
Sorry
stuff.
if you opened up the magazine and you had a ripped out page and I was the culprit.
You ripped out the page in the store?
Yes.
You didn't pay for them?
Yes.
DB.
Well, it's been years now, and I said it was awful. And are you going to turn me in now to be Dalton that may not even exist anymore?
I'm calling the police on you right now. They sold you to you illegally while you were underage?
Are you going to that
I'm calling it on them too.
They
calling
don't
the police.
They went under anyway, so good luck on that. But
no, we all did some weird. I'm not judging you. We all did some weird stuff when we were in adolescence in order to quell those urges that were boiling inside of us.
Boiling.
So I was debating whether I wanted to tell the story. And you know what? You only live once, right? And I'm here to be honest. So my mom and my dad divorced when I was very, very young. And so when I was maybe 15 or 16, I went to go visit him I forget where it was. And
your dad?
My father.
Yes.
And he had a whole stack of, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. He had a whole stack of porno mags, and in it was like
But straight porn, right?
The Hustler magazine. You know, they had men in them as well.
Right, which is hot.
I mean, so I would take out the Hustler magazines, and I would definitely hump the magazine when I was a younger kid.
Oh, yeah.
With the men in it, because I would like only the pictures when there were men featured in the Hustler magazine. So I was like, that's
not that bad.
I feel like it's horrible. Like
Jeremy, our co-host,
humping magazines.
Humping. Oh, you literally humped it.
I literally humped the magazine.
I mean, we were horny boys.
We were horny boys.
I used to house sit for the people across the street and for their cat. And I snuck into their bedroom, and the man had I would smell his underwear.
Oh,
and I would
girl.
also. I looked under his bed once, and he had like those same Hustler, and I was all jerking off to that
Yeah.
because I thought that was hot too. Totally, I know, right?
No.
Good thing we were lucky back in the day because this is pre when they had all those cameras around and
Yeah.
CCTV, and nowadays if you were you would be on camera.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Caught.
But now we're just confessing it on a podcast. So I don't
In
know
my 50s and you were in your 40s when we were like teenagers.
Yeah.
Horny boys, come on.
I'm going to confess to one more thing. I have stolen.
I feel like we're in a confessional. It's like that episode of Emily in Paris, and one of the art, which I thought was brilliant. They had a confessional. At like, did you grow up Catholic in
Yes.
the Catholic Church? And remember
Yes.
confessionals, and you would go to confession. It was really cool box rooms, and it had that mesh divider between you and the priest, and you could only see a silhouette.
Yeah.
And it was really dark and a really cool box. I've always wanted to recreate that anyway because I just thought it was so cool, that, Wonder Woman box kind of thing, and confessional and very Madonna and la la la. But they did an art exhibit. But we're in our confessional right now. We just don't have that cool box.
At Confessions of what was on a dance floor. That's what we're doing right now. Hello, goodbye. Yeah, I may have stolen other people's underwear from the laundry. Maybe.
Clean underwear?
Clean underwear
Oh,
from the
wow.
washer. That's it.
You're very G-rated.
Is that G-rated? I feel like that's such a horrible
I
thing.
was smelling used underwear by a man that I was supposed to be watching his cat.
Hey, you know what? That was your additional income right there. That was
Yeah.
your bonus.
My babysitting money. Exactly. Oh, my
Good
God.
times.
Let us know if you like cruising, and if you agree with some of these spots. We want to hear from you. Well, the gays have been asking a lot of stuff online right now. I mean, we are really busy this fall, and I love the question. We had to talk about it. Why do straight people walk so slowly?
Oh, my goodness.
Any city dweller here in New York and gay knows that we are storming like the runway down those streets of New York. I'm always storming.
Oh, my, me too.
And they asked the question, has this ever happened to you? You're strutting down a sidewalk, pumping to the beat of a song. Oh, yeah, I'm always in my own personal music video. Blasting in your earbuds when, boom, a slow walker is blocking your path. A cursory investigation confirms your worst fears. It's a straight person. It may be a stereotype, but it's one based in truth. The gays walk fast, no two ways about it. Why? Though are the walking speeds of gays and straights so disparate? And one Redditor was determined to get to the bottom of things, so they asked the fellows that question. Why can't straight people walk at a reasonable pace of 25 miles per hour like we do? It's so annoying when I'm on cruise control while walking. Then I have to slam on my brakes when some straight is walking in the middle of the street. It's so funny. I was with one of my BFFs who's a straight woman, and I told her this thing that I tell everybody. I'm like, oh, hey, pull over. Because I wanted to tell her something, or these people were like on our back.
Yeah, I hate
these
that.
gays were on our back, and I was walking pretty fast, but she's shorter legs, so I was keeping up with her.
Yeah.
And I just said, oh, let's pull over.
Yeah,
And
I
she's
do the
like,
same.
pull over.
Pull over.
You learn tactics. In 16 years of living in New York, I learned to walk on the right side, pushed almost to the edge of the wall of whatever business I'm walking, so that I feel like that's the fast lane there. And if I have to check my phone, tell somebody something, or somebody's on my butt, these are very car driving, I pull over, I let them walk by. When those people, I also don't like it, even though we walk fast, I don't like it when someone's on my butt.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when you're driving too, like, get off my ass.
Yeah.
And so I have very specific, and I just feel like the people that walk in the middle of the sidewalk, when they could just pull over, it's 2 lanes here, pull over to the right and walk. I'm very cognizant of that, and I don't think most people are. I think it's life of the unaware, and everyone's in their own world. And then one last thing, and I want to hear from you, is I was walking down the street, and this is a big city thing, where three girls, they just happen to be girls, were lining the street.
I already know what you're going to say.
In a very narrow, so it was pretty much a two-way type of street, a sidewalk, going down a block. And three girls are storming, and they think they're cute. One of them's like chatting away and holding court amongst these three women. And I'm pushed over as far as I can, seeing them coming in my direction. And I decided, So what I do is I leave my shoulder out. They're not going to pay attention to me. Then fine. And my shoulder hit the woman who was, quote unquote, holding court, trying to be all fabulous. Well, girl, you're not so fabulous. And I hit her, and she was like, and I was like, yeah, pay attention, bitch, motherfucker.
That's
it's just
right.
like, come on, open your eyes when you come to the city, motherfuckers.
Open your eyes, period. Be cognizant of other people that are on the sidewalk, because we all have to share this world.
We do. Pretend it's a city, like my neighbor. My neighbor is Fran Lebowitz.
We love her.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Watch
she's
that
very
series. Well, her whole Netflix show, Pretend It's a City, is all about this. Hey, pretend it's a city. There are other people around you.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. So I have a lot to say about this. I don't even know where to start right at this point. But I think a good place to start is, I think that what you said about applying the driving rules to walking, more people should do that, because it's something that will keep people and traffic moving on this sidewalk. And I think that it would make us more considerate of each other. So I feel like when you did that to those girls, it's something that I feel like is a learning experience for them, that they're not the only people in the world, and maybe they should shove over just a little bit. Something Lincoln said to me when we kind of touched on this a little bit before when Lincoln was here discussing things with us, and he said that I took it personally, honestly, and I thought that they did not appreciate me as a person for whatever reason. There are so many reasons that they could not see the humanity in me as a person. But then after conversing with Lincoln on the subject a little bit, I started to watch how somebody who has mistreated me on the sidewalk treated other people, and they don't care. They just are in their own oblivious world, thinking that they are the main character and they don't have to share the sidewalk or this world with anybody else.
Well, they better learn.
They better learn, number one, because I think that we as gay people, bringing it back to the story, is we walk really fast because we got somewhere to be. 9 times out of 10, I'm already late. Okay.
To a hookup, to the club.
So I'm trying to beat the pavement and hit it and onto my destinations. And these people are right in front of me, walking very slowly, like they have nowhere to go, looking around, pointing at things. No, ma'am, can you please pull over to the side and have your visitor rest stop, and then just do what you need to do, not in the way of the walkway. I think it's ridiculous. I think I suffer from Pietro Maximoff syndrome, Quicksilver from X Factor and Avengers and things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm bringing it back to comic books. You know, that's my lane.
I like it.
Pietro Maximoff syndrome, otherwise known as PMS. If anybody is doing anything slower than me in front of me, it just totally sets my mood off, and I get super aggravated.
Now listen, I'm about to go on a trip right now to Europe where I'm going to be a tourist myself. Mm-hmm. One of them, I've been to one before, but it's not like I know it that well, Amsterdam, but I'm also going to Vienna. Shout out to Vienna and Amsterdam listeners. Hey, I'm coming. And the thing about it is I'm not going to be walking at the pace that I walk in my own hometown city. I'm just not, because I don't know it. However, I'm going to be cognizant. I'm not going to have my head buried in my phone all the time. And I will utilize tactics that I use in this city, that if I'm looking up a direction, I will pull over, like you do in a car, to find the direction. And I will also be cognizant that the locals there, I don't want to piss them. Like, I'm just going to be aware of it. But I'm definitely not going to be walking at the pace that I walk in my hometown city. So we get it, and I get it for visitors of my hometown city, where I'm not trying to railroad over those visitors, this city that I live in relies on tourism, and so we want tourism to come into this city.
Definitely.
And we are not anti that.
Oh, no.
It's many times it's the other fellow New Yorkers that are just being selfish and unaware. But also tourists, we welcome you, and I will be a tourist myself. But there's a way to do it where if you got to look up those directions, do not stop in your tracks. Just like if you were in a car and you didn't know where GPS was sending you, you wouldn't stop the car on a freeway or a highway to look up, hey, where am I going? You wouldn't. You would pull over and figure it out and get back on track and get back in the lane.
That's right.
Let's utilize those tactics when we're out and about in the big cities.
That's right, darling.
Well, moving on to bisexual guys who, in a new study, apparently experience less body dissatisfaction than gay men, a study finds.
Ooh, gay money, hey.
I didn't realize this, but it's Bisexual Awareness Week. Happy Bisexual Awareness. And it was a study done by Nottingham Trent University, which found that gay and bisexual men view their bodies and experience dissatisfaction with their appearance differently. And in an investigation, sampled 378 men between the ages of 18 to 85 who self-identified as heterosexual, gay, or bisexual. And the research studied their levels of motivation to alter their leanness and muscularity, as well as satisfaction with their body fat, muscularity, height, and endowment, which is kind of cool. Everybody kind of paired the same way when it came to the last: endowment, height. All of us, gay, straight, bi, we're all, we wouldn't mind being a little bit taller. We wouldn't mind having an extra few inches down there. Everybody was pretty much the same on that. But where we differed was straight and bisexual men didn't seem to care so much about muscularity and leanness as do our gay men, as us. And that is really interesting because we always pair up bisexual men. I feel like we lump them in a lot. Yeah. And a lot of people, while they want to be healthy, they're not so invested in about body image. And I think a lot of it, I'm definitely in that camp. And I've been recently noticing that I've asked people that are closest to me, from my sister to my boyfriend to my BFFs, do I look fat in this picture? And they're like, stop it. But I do worry about certain things like that sometimes. And I think it's just ingrained because I'm of an old school time where I wanted to put out a certain muscularity in the 80s and 90s was a big thing. And I was part of that generation that Lincoln was as well, our other co-host. And not all of our co-hosts are. And it just happened to be that I fell into that. I'm a former athlete that dedicated my life to that. So there's another reason for that. I also try and work out for health too. I stretch a lot because I have to because of former gymnast. So, but I am always a little bit more aware. Why do you think that gay men are more concerned about body image than bisexuals and, of course, straight men?
For me personally, I just want to look good in my skimpy selfies that I post on the internet. So that's why I'm more body conscious. So you can follow me on Mr. Maurice. Go see all my salacious selfies over there. But personally, so I believe that bisexual men are not as, generally speaking, from this study, that they're not as concerned with muscularity and leanness, because while they are subjected to the male gaze, they are also subjected to the female gaze, which is completely different. They're two completely different things. I feel like men, when they're looking at other men or women, they're looking for an aesthetic that is pleasing to a man as far as muscularity, as far as body weight and things of that nature. So I feel like gay men are more subjected to body ideals, I'll put it like that. And I feel like the female gaze is more attributed to comfortability. I don't know. I'm not a lady, so I don't know what they're actually looking for, but I know that it's completely different from what I am looking for in a body type, as in a person, for for me to find them attractive. I know it's completely different. I have straight female friends who are, when they're looking for a partner, what they're looking for in a body is not anywhere near what I'm looking for in a body.
Well, that's interesting because for me, it's about my own. The article is really about your own personal body image and what bisexuals think about it versus gay men, and it's like what you think about yourself when you look in the mirror. Not necessarily. I like the direction you went in on also what you look for, because that differs for me. Because while I am kind of in agreement with this article and these findings, that I'm all about looking at my body image and a little bit of body dysmorphia that I'm aware of, that I'm constantly working on. And I had two thoughts when you were talking. One of them is that my body has changed as I got into my 50s. It was lean all the way through my late 40s, and while I'm still lean, I've put on more muscular weight, and I definitely have to watch it more than I ever did in my 40s and under, and that's fine. And I recently posted a picture of myself back in my 20s that I looked super twink and lean and mean. And I was like that forever, and I'm not like that anymore, but I am a different version of myself. But I'm learning all the time to embrace that newer self, and I like it. And I don't want to really be that person anymore because that wasn't who I am now. And so there's that. But in terms of who I'm attracted to, which you were alluding to in the last part of your thing, I just want to say that I am into being muscular, and I think it works with me in my 50s to put on a little more muscle and be like a little heftier. I think it looks good on me now. I am not interested in that with who I'm attracted to. Like, my boyfriend isn't at all. He hates the gym at all. Now, he is an avid hiker and has great legs, and like his heart must be amazing because he's just like gets 1 million steps per day in his job and hiking. But he says it himself. I'm skinny, and I love his body. So I'm not needing that in who I'm with. It's just for me.
So I guess my point was, you as a gay man and them as bisexual men modify their body and how they look and how they feel about their body according to who they're trying to attract. So because for gay men, the male gaze and the perfect body composition is what they are looking for. They're going to try to modify their body to look like, quote unquote, a perfect body type.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, okay. And I do put that out there because I think I look the best when I have more muscularity on me. When I put that on social media, and I want people to be attracted to me in general, just from a brand, if you will. Yeah. I'm using air quotes, but it does work. You know, we put a lot of social media out there for what we do, podcasting, and part of our brand is really putting it out there in social media. And so I realize that when I'm putting shirtless stuff out there, it's helping my brand. So yes, to that point, but like a partner, it's not as important to me. Like, I'm attracted to, of course, muscles, but that's not the only type I'm attracted to.
Yeah, but I feel like generally speaking, gay men are attracted to muscles, and straight women are attracted to whatever they're attracted to, because I have no idea. Honestly, I could have probably done a little bit more research on
everything. They're just trying to find a good man.
Exactly. Somebody who's smart and intelligent and doesn't follow... Yes.
Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. Thank you for holding down the fort with me.
Always, darling.
Yeah, and we want to make an announcement that you are live tomorrow night. Yes. Excuse me, this is dropping Tuesday. You are live tonight, Tuesday, September 24th. With Teddy Alexis and doing Tags Live a day earlier. So for those that listen to Tags Live, you're live tonight with the one and only Teddy Alexis. And check it out. We're doing it a day early, but the same show will drop where you get your podcast on Thursday, September 26th. you've got an Indiegogo account if you want to promote that, because you have an EP that you are coming out musically soon, and you just kind of got to get the final touches on it. And what a perfect platform to raise those extra funds that you need to really make this EP come to fruition.
Oh, definitely. It is such a, I love this project going on right now. I think that it is, it's going to be poignant, and it'll touch so many people, and I can't wait for it to come out. And if you donate, it'll just come out sooner. So Kodi Maurice EP on Indiegogo. Look me up, help me out. And thank you so much if you can donate. If you can't, I totally understand.
And the best way also to find it, just go to TAGSPodcast.com, and it is on the website. You can find the link there. It's in show notes, and you can get it there. If you want to support our show and get that bonus episode of Kodi interviewing myself, we just released it. You can go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. Grab a tier. We have another bonus episode that just came out last week. So all the bonus is coming your way with extra special sexy perks. Go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. You can follow Kodi on the gram at Mr. Maurice. He mentioned it earlier, Mr. Maurice. He is a life coach at KMD Coaching. But follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Or go to my Twitter X account at TAGSPodcast, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans and OnlyFans. There's somebody in Vienna where I'm headed that, if I can make it work, wants to collab with me, Kodi. So trying to make that happen, send my sister out for a drink. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
But I utilize the room.
He's ready to go, and he can't host, so I think
Is he lubed up already?
Well, he's a Dom top, so I need to be lubed up and ready to go. But at Tags Podcast is the place to see that, where you can get my links to Just for Fans or OnlyFans. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.